Hi, as I promised, I'm going to show you how to do a spaghetti squash for a low carb, high fat diet. The spaghetti squash is fairly low in net carbs. It only has about 6 grams per cup. So what you first need to do is to cut the spaghetti squash in half, then take out the seeds. And depending if you like the taste of roasted pumpkin squash, then you can do it the way I do it, because I just love it. But you can do it without having the top all browned. So what you need to do is to line a baking pan with aluminum foil. Then place the spaghetti squash halves face down, cut part down for no browning. And then bake it at 400, depending on the size. See, something like this would go for an hour. The one that I did earlier is slightly smaller, so it will only go for about 45 minutes. Once it's baked, and you can see if it is done by trying it with a fork. If the fork easily goes in until it touches the peel, that means it's done. Let it cool off a little bit, obviously, so you can handle it. And then what you do with the fork, you practically pull the strands. As you can see, it actually does look like spaghetti. The taste is not exactly like spaghetti, but it is an absolutely delicious dish. And you can see that the flesh actually goes in strands, comes out in strands. Now, in order to be able to figure out how much I have here, because see, the main thing when you go on a diet for weight loss, the worst thing you can do is eyeballing. Eyeballing can trick you so bad, and then you wonder why isn't it working, and then you give up, and you've gone for several weeks frustration and deprivation of food for nothing, because you don't have the proper measuring things. So I'm gonna push all of it to the side, and then I'm going to use the cup, actually. Measuring cup. So I have 1 cup, separating, probably I have about 2 cups here. A little bit less, about 1 3/4 cups. This will be one of the dishes. Now the thing is that if you want to eat it warm, you can put butter in it. If you want a lighter version that you won't be eating warm, then you can use olive oil. Now the first one that I'm going, I prefer the olive oil because it reminds me more of original Italian cuisine. So why do you put the fat in it? It's not necessarily to get to the percentage of fat that you need, but because you don't, it's exactly like spaghetti, you don't want them to stick together once they cool off. So I can assure you that was 2 tablespoons. I've been cooking for over 40 years, so I'm pretty good. So I am mixing it together very well, so the olive oil will go in between everything. Then the first one that I'm going to do will be a pesto, a green pesto, and cheese. I make my own pesto, I grow my own basil, several kinds of basil, but you can find a very good pesto at Aldi's if you have an Aldi's around. So I'm going to put about a tablespoon of pesto, and it smells absolutely delicious. And you use an Italian, about half a cup, an Italian mix. This one is also from Aldi's. Actually, I'm gonna put only like a quarter of a cup because it seems half a cup seems way too much for this little spaghetti squash. Mix it real good. Then of course you'll have to taste. It does need some salt. And now it is absolutely perfect. So I can prepare it for serving. So right now I have about 8 grams of net carbs from the spaghetti squash, then about 1 gram from the cheese, and 0 grams from Parmesan because we want just a dash of Parmesan on top. And voila, the spaghetti squash and cheese and pesto, green pesto. Now I'm going to take care of the second half, and this one I'm going to make it with the red pesto. So again, I need to take it out of the peel, and it's exactly the same thing. Just scoop it out with a fork. Why with a fork? Because it helps with separating the strands. You would have more to work on if you would use a spoon than using a fork. Go the second half. Now the red pesto that I'm going to use, this one I didn't make it because my tomatoes were not very happy this year. So it's a red pesto that's also, you can find it at Aldi's. It's based on sun-dried tomatoes, Italian cheese, and basil. But first I have to put some olive oil. With this one you can actually add some cherry tomatoes if you want, or grape tomatoes. The pesto itself has 2 grams of carbs per 2 tablespoons, but I'm not going to use 2 tablespoons, I'm going to use 2 teaspoons. because I don't have that much spaghetti squash here. Sorry. I do drop a lot of stuff because of my disability. And of course you mix it really good. It's going to look exactly like spaghetti with marinara sauce. Of course it needs salt. And actually on this one I'm going to use a little bit of pepper too. Not a lot. Just to give it a little bit of zing. There we go, the second dish. So this one will have pretty much the same carb content depending on the cheese that you use, anywhere from 8 to 10 grams of net carbs. And I'm going to use some Parmesan on this one too. And there we go. Two beautiful dishes. And I will place here the nutritional content of each of the dishes. Practically this would be kind of like 1 serving and a half, but bon appetit if you're trying.